Make sure that comes up with all the...
Oh, I wish I knew where that box was that I got the books. There is a book that you need to read, Kate, that you would probably love.
I love books.
Yeah, it's written by Tom Jensen. It's called Good Things Bad, or The Bad Things Good NASCAR Racers Do in Pursuit of Speed.
Say that again. Good things. Good things?
The bad things good NASCAR racers do in the pursuit of speed.
Oh, yes, I would like to read that.
Yeah, it's really good. Tom Jensen, Tomjensen, the Nordic spelling.
That would be the Nordic spelling. I mean, like, that really is.
That's the cheating book, right? That's a fantastic book.
Oh, yeah, it's called Cheaters.
Right.
That's the headline. It's in all caps, Cheaters.
Oh, really?
The bad things good NASCAR racers do in pursuit of speed.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a fun book. That one...
I have to open new Post-its.
You can read that at the beach in one afternoon, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, it's like these books, yeah.
And I just love the creativity side of it, you know? Every one of them's like a heist movie or something. Like, all right, they went in and they mess with this one thing, and then they only got, like the dude that put mercury in his car so that when he turned the corner, it would slosh to one side, and then they found out about it because he spilled mercury all over the track after a crash, and, you know,
oh my God.
It's poisonous gas.
Oh, well, I mean, Rusty, if you haven't listened yet, you got to listen. DW did 2 1-hour, well, it was one interview, but there were 2-hour sections of the Dale Jr. And they talked about like how they would fill up the frame rails with shotgun shot, and they just had like a button or a dial that he would just kind of and just dump all the shot out.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
I did not change the logo on the YouTube.
They were all doing it because Kyle Petty's talked about that too. He's like, yeah, we just go down in turn 1 and hit that button. 50 pounds of shotgun shot would just roll out of one of the frame rails.
So is the book, like just talking about different things that happened in different races with different, are they well-known drivers, or it's like dirt tracks and...
The star of the book is Smokey Yunick, who is generally considered the best innovator in the history of NASCAR.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Everybody.
And, Junior Johnson's all up in there too because he brought the banana boat to. They let him have the template and said, "NASCAR, we're going to measure this everybody's race car on your template." And he goes, "Well, why don't we just cut this thing down to 7/8 and see what happens?" He built a 7/8 race car, shaped it like a damn banana. And he didn't have near enough motor to keep up, but he won the race because he could draft. He was the first one to go see the air that Earnhardt is known for.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, that's a fun book right there.
Okay, it's written down. Might go on my Christmas list.
Booyah!
It should.
Well, we ready to do some podcasting? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in.
Awesome.
How much I have to add, I don't know, but we'll see.
Oh, you'll be fine. Got your beverage squared away?
I do, so.
Yeah. You know the deal. All right, here we go. Let's do it. I am recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 270. It's Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace in the PTM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie and some stickers. Best part is every cent this year we will be donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. Here we go. Aaron Bearden, Robert Kevlinger, Coleman McLean, Eric Kevner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Brandon Carl, Rika Porter, Julie Bosley, Eddie Greer, Third, Young Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Brett Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Chanana, Rick Houston, Sarah Anbari, Evan Roller, Matthew Bishop, Matthew Camper, Harry Bolzania, AJ Evangelista, Les Miller, and Jumpy Bob. All right. Well, I might have ran half out of breath on that one, but it was fine.
Yeah.
So bringing on from the PTM North Carolina studio, pregame engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Yeah, well, hey, let's fight some fires and talk about some race cars.
Light the fires and start the tires. Wait,
tires?
Something like that. Oh, what a great way to start.
Oh, I was talking about my evening.
Oh, yeah. I hear you, man. Well, very special guest tonight. She's back for some off-season fun, debuting on PETM 264 just about 6-7 weeks ago. Still way overqualified to be talking to a couple idiots like us. Welcome to the show, former actress, board member of Bitch Media, tech startup expert, speaker, singer, NASCAR aficionado on Twitter at GoKate8. It's Kate Ertmann. What's up, Kate?
Hey, guys. How you doing? I'm doing good.
We are excited to have you on. We talked about we would need to come back in the off season when there's not all the pressure of the news going on and everything. And Sherwin probably warned you that during the off season, the show notes are pretty sparse, and we just like to, riff a bit. And we start that riff the same way.
Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Let's do it. We start it the same way. This is in the show notes every time. What you drinking on tonight, Kate?
I am drinking what I usually am drinking, which is gin. Tonight it's a big gin, which is from Seattle. It's big gin with some lime juice, some ice cubes. That's it.
Now,
in a triangle glass.
Is there like and that sounds awesome. Is there like a Seattle, Portland, I mean, besides soccer, obviously, but like, is there like a town rivalry kind of thing? Like, oh, you Seattleites, oh, you Portlanders.
A little bit. I mean, there's definitely a, because we're the two closest cities together, there's definitely a rivalry as far as what's better, who has better restaurants, who has better all the things. But we only have one. I mean, we have, like you just said, we have the Timbers for soccer, and we have the Trailblazers. But Lillard, Dame, and Seattle had basketball, but and they went to Oklahoma, right? I think. Yeah,
Oklahoma City.
The team Sonics went to Oklahoma, but they do have football. And of course, they do have baseball. So, and they're a little bit bigger as far as population, so I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm. So,
I love Portland.
Funny story. We, me and the wife, we live in Chamblee, Georgia. Used to be unincorporated DeKalb, and we were annexed. And we weren't too happy about it, but then Chamblee turned out to be pretty cool town. So we're like, all right, yeah, we're good with this. But we decided one day, because just north of us is Doraville. And we decided one day that Doraville was just going to be like our rival town. So we just start talking crap about Doraville all the time now. For no other reason than we don't live there, and that's where people from Doraville live. And I'm just going to say they suck.
Wow. So you and your wife decided this? That you're going to start?
Yeah, there was there's no other rhyme or reason to it other than that's the city that we don't live in. Therefore, we don't like them. So
yeah.
Right?
Doraville. Who wants to live there?
So we come up with names like, oh, it's Doraville. They're the Dora villains. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
Wow.
Sherwin, what you drinking?
I still have some Rolling Rock left, but
nice.
Check out this cool koozie I got it in.
Oh, very well done.
Ooh.
Yeah, the PTM podcast koozie. Go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. We've already been through that. So I got some sort of fancy tonic. I shouldn't say I did. The wife did, and I ran out of mixer. So we're using fancy tonic with our Jim Beam tonight. And I've still got, this might be like the 6th episode in a row or something, this sticky stout from Red Hair. There's still some cans just chilling out in the back of the fridge. So, got something for on deck. Anyway, Kate, how was your Thanksgiving?
Fine. I mean, it was small, as I assume most of all of ours are. We are, it's just myself, my husband, and we had my mom, who's in our bubble. And my mom is a bit older. She's in her late 80s. So we had her at our house, and we just, we you know what? We didn't really care. We kind of went through the motions. But we kind of like let everybody off the hook. So though we had all the things we would normally have, we did kind of smaller portions. We were like, what time do we want to eat? Whenever it's done. So we want to play some cards? Yeah, let's play some cards. Then another person be like, I'm just going to watch football. Okay, just go watch football. It was just no pressure. I think that was the whole thing. It was, we're not going to get ourselves worked up since there's just been too many things to get worked up in the past few months. So
yeah.
It'll be a relaxed day.
We had 27 people, I think, over at the house, all from different states, and we played spit in each other's face and who could do the most.
Stop it.
So, yeah, it was a good time. No.
Good time.
No, nothing like that. We had a few family members over, and same sort of thing, our bubble group.
Yeah.
And Thanksgiving's my jam. So I actually cooked Thanksgiving on Wednesday and then put it all in leftover tubs so that me and my wife could have Thanksgiving leftovers all week, because everybody eats up all the Thanksgiving that we make on Thanksgiving. So I made Thanksgiving twice, and then but the second one, the first one is just like take the turkey out of the bag, throw it in the oven, just so you have leftovers for turkey sandwich. But day 2 is definitely like the smoked bird and the good dressing that I make and all that stuff. So, but the leftovers have been fantastic. Sherwin, how was yours?
It was great. I went home, hung out with Mom and Dad. They did all of their normal stuff. My mom makes a turkey gravy to die for. I'm not saying it's going to be the best, because everybody, applies a superlative to the thing they like, especially when Mom's doing it. But Mom does a great job, and they did a great job with the bird. It was delicious, and I all but demanded that white bread be purchased for Friday afternoon sandwiches.
Yes.
And I got my wish.
Yeah.
And I'm the weirdo in the world that my turkey sandwich has mustard and black pepper on it only, and that's it. That's all that's there.
I don't put mayonnaise on anything but a turkey sandwich, and I'm turkey, black pepper, and mayonnaise. So I understand the sentiment with the mustard. The mustard, I guess that brings some extra flavor, and I'm not sure I'm ready to go mustard yet, just because it's a different flavor. I've been in mayonnaise town for so long.
Right. Well, I never got into mayonnaise, so that was a really easy transition. But
yeah.
But for everybody else that's just tuning in just for the first time now, Rusty and I are very much those people that, mustard, hot dog, mustard, hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even take ketchup to the racetrack anymore. Like, it's not even a thing.
Why would you? I have to ask Sherwin, when you say mustard, there is a cornucopia of different mustards out there. Your choice is the same all the time?
Regular old yellow American mustard.
Wow. All right. It's good.
I'm good with the brown spicy stuff. I even I've cooked with the German stuff at doing the Blue Apron and the whatnot, and I've enjoyed that. But when it comes down to any kind of a hot dog or a hamburger, I want regular old yellow mustard. And same thing on my turkey sandwich.
I see no fault in that. That's fantastic.
So my wife makes an entire Thanksgiving meal and puts it between 2 slices of bread. It's an impressive production, because it's got turkey dressing, cranberry sauce. If there's potatoes left, she'll put that on there. If there's freaking green beans left, that might as well, like the whole thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I haven't tried it, but it's one of those like I ain't sure about that. Kate, you're in.
Sounds like she needs.
This is what I do also. So yeah, she knows.
Yeah, sounds like she needs to teach like Chipotle and Moe's how to do like a Thanksgiving burrito.
That's not a bad idea. I could be all in on that. I did have a little story to tell. So suddenly winter showed up in Atlanta. I don't know if it made its way out to you yet, Sherwin.
You're damn right it did.
Oh my god!
Like I said, it's 12 hours difference. That's the only difference between our weather.
Yeah. So yesterday it was sleety. I've never seen sleet like this. It would have been pouring rain if the rain weren't sleet. And I was like, well, either rain or snow. Just do one of those. Don't do this. This sucks. Like, you're just
okay.
pelted.
So we did not get that. So it warmed up before it got up into the Charlotte area. So we actually have a more temperate climate than you right now.
Well, congrats.
But it was 28 degrees this morning, so that's bullshit.
Yeah, well, there's that. So it's funny you mentioned that, because earlier this year, my wife said that she wanted to become fluent in Celsius, and wanted to start using that and in day-to-day just to, be more fluent in it, because that's what the rest of the world's using, so we might as well. And I said, all right, I'm in. So we changed our Alexa to tell us temperatures in Celsius. We changed our phones. In my truck, I changed it over to Celsius. She did the same in her car, and I've always got the temperature up on the gauge there. And it's been fun over the course of like the summer. It was like, oh, what's it going to be? And at first you're like, oh, it's going to be 30. Okay, what is that? That's close to 90. Okay, what is, and then it's 25. Okay, what is that?
33 is bad.
Yeah. So it's been fun, and eventually we stopped having to translate to Fahrenheit, right? Because it was like, oh, well, if it's over 20, then you don't really need a jacket. If it's in the teens, like you just maybe need a long sleeve. If it's low teens or in the 10 to 12, you're going to need a jacket, and under 10, definitely need like a coat. And so yeah, it's been fun, right? Oh, it's going to be 21 today. Oh, it's going to be 19. Like you get good, get better at it. So I would say we've gotten fluent. Well, I'll tell you this much: Celsius has made me bitter once winter hit, because I walked in the door yesterday and I shut it firmly. I did not slam it, but I shut it firmly. And my wife's sitting on the couch. She looks over and I go, "It is 1 outside right now. It's 1." And I'm like, it might as well. I mean, why even give me the 1? That's just a big old middle finger. And might as well be 0. I don't care. It's none or it's 1. It's 1 of what? I don't care. This sucks. It's 1. And so, yeah, that was. I was thinking, does the rest of the world get this bitter when it's 1 outside? Like we've had a good fall in terms of, oh, it's 21, ha ha ha, we're all laughing. But when it's 1 outside, it'll straight up piss you off. And then I thought about, well, what if I wasn't doing this whole Celsius thing, right? And I'm going deep, y'all, so bear with me. It's off season. If I wouldn't do this, I might have gone inside and been like, ooh, it sure is cold. It's 34 out. And it would have been, oh, wow, 34. Yeah, that's pretty cold. Mm-hmm. But when it's 1, when that translates over to, that's just a different story, y'all. So anyway, there's old Rusty's soapbox on Celsius.
When you've seen my minus 18 Fahrenheit and you spit and it freezes before it hits the ground, you don't care whether it's in Celsius or not.
I was just about to say that. I was watching some YouTube video not too long ago, and they're like, the center of the sun is 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 80,000 Celsius or whatever. Or, that doesn't add up, but it was like, dude, it does not matter which one you say.
There's 5 zeros, damn it.
Right. Then there's there's 5 billion light years away, and this other one is 8 billion light years away, and you're like, those are both just too far. It doesn't matter.
Those are the same exact billion light years away.
Yeah, that's the same amount of I'm gonna ever get there in my lifetime. So
yeah, places you've been on a graph and where that is.
Right.
8 and 5 do not register as different data points.
But here's old Rusty yelling at a YouTube video because it's who cares what the Fahrenheit equivalent is of this? It's way too hot. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Kate, how you doing?
Yeah, I use Fahrenheit, but I'd be down with Celsius. I like doing the math, so when I accidentally will come across Celsius, I'll try to figure out what that would be Fahrenheit. Things like that. But,
yeah. Well, it's 9/5 plus 32, and 9/5 is real close to 2, and 32 is really close to 30. So when we were doing our translation stuff, I'd tell my wife, just double it and add 30, and you're going to be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And subtract 10%, and then you're good. You fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have it. I mean, yeah. To be clear, I have the equation written out on the front of the cookbook I use most in the kitchen. To do that translation, because for some reason I seem to have a lot of recipes that come from like bakers I like in Australia and in the UK, and I have to do that translation, but I don't remember it offhand. That's why I write it down.
Well, I do it at work and home. Like at work, I operate in Celsius. At home, I operate in Fahrenheit.
You're ambitemperate.
I'm ambitemperatures. That's a very funny word we just created.
I like it, ambitemperature.
Yeah, but it's like, what's 165 C? Well, I know what that means in terms of processing the stuff that I work with, and then I can do the quick math on how hot that probably is. If I touched it, and then there's like when I walked outside, tonight at 5:30, and it was like 28 degrees, and I'm like, this is still bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's even another one. Now, once you get out of human temperate zones, it's kind of like, I don't really care if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit anymore. Now, I understand because different things will melt or boil or whatever at those temperatures, but, if you have to know it for an engineering perspective, but when you were like, it's 165 Celsius, what's that in Fahrenheit? Rusty's like, I don't care. It's too hot.
Too damn hot.
Don't touch it. How about that? I can do that
a lot
math.
of hot.
Sherwin, you had a fun stereo story over the last 24 hours.
I mean, I put it all over everywhere, but I'll show it again.
What?
So I got this.
I don't know it.
I got this message yesterday.
Sherwin's holding it up. Dear resident, wait, put it closer again. Please lower your music and turn off your subwoofer. Please be respectful to your neighbors. Thank you kindly. Building 8.
Ooh, okay, wait. So the off is all capitalized. Off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was the entire building or just someone who
Speaking for the building?
was speaking
I
for?
honestly think that, so there was a couple, when I showed up at home yesterday at 6, no, it was closer to 7. We had a nice long day yesterday. That's always fun. Good, solid, almost 12-hour day.
Ugh.
And, and I'm just doing my thing. I done been to the ABC store and got my, adult candy. And people were like walking down the stairs, and I'm always respectful because I'm not wearing my mask from like the car into my apartment. So I always give them like space to use the path, because that feels like the way you probably should do that. Just being silently respectful. And dude kind of nodded his head and I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he was like surprised that I had offered that gesture of friendliness. Because I hadn't been upstairs to my apartment yet, where he is very likely the person and his significant other who had just placed the note on my door, the friendly neighborly note.
Ooh.
And so what I will say is, am I a bad actor in this situation? Perhaps. Actually, I don't think it's perhaps. So what happened was, I got so damn sick and tired of listening to these people next to me damn near getting a fight every night, and their kids yelling and hollering, and the people above me having and what sounds like a rhinoceros rugby tournament every night. Like, I mean, stuff hits the floor and you're like, what in your house is made of tungsten? Because that's how loud that was. Like, it was that heavy, that whatever it was that hit the floor. And so I'm like, you know what? I got mad the other night and I said, you know what? I'm watching Ford versus Ferrari and I'm watching it on Mach 10. And I turned my sub up from like 1.5 to 2.5.
Crazy.
And I've already lifted my sub up off the floor and put it on a stack of magazines, right? A lot of dense places for that thing to soak up some energy.
Yeah, the dead in the sound even. Yeah.
And then I get that message and I'm like, oh, you know, you found the exact wrong person for the reasons that you would never imagine. Like, I'm pretty copacetic with everybody around me. Like, I don't really want to upset the apple cart, but to tell me to turn my sub off, yeah, you can sort of go ahead and forget about that. That's not happening.
These are not people who know how to do adequate or professional type negotiations, anything of that sort. So you need to make a relationship first, not just demands.
That's what it looked. That's the way it's written, right? That's very much a demand, right? Turn off your sub.
Absolutely. And
so my first kind of like my verbal response out loud was, yeah, you can pry my sub from my cold dead fingers. The problem with that is you're going to have to meet my Colt 1145.
Oh boy. Oh dear.
First.
So I had texted over. I had texted over short. We're going to a dark place.
Okay, I'll back out. I'll parachute. Whoop, threw it up. We're good.
I had texted Sherwin. I'll be like, now I will admit, I did walk over to my next door neighbor and beat on his door and say, dude, you got to turn that stereo off, down, whatever, because it is rattling my entire house. I'm in a townhome. I share a wall with somebody, and I mean the whole thing's just rattling off. And I'm like, this ain't gonna happen, And so I don't know. Maybe the difference is that I didn't leave a note and say, hey, building 8 would like you to turn this down.
It's the anonymous.
Like, oh, Rusty would like you to turn this down, please, sir. Have a nice day.
Like, if you knew the person or even knew their name and they even said, that was really loud and disruptive, could you not do that again? That's different than saying, turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
Building 8. I mean.
Building 8. That's the best part is the building 8.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. Like, it was millennial as an F word. Like, I mean, that's the way I looked at it. I was like, look, all right, I'll behave myself for a while so I don't get called to the principal's office where I pay pretty significant amount of rent. I pay more to live in this apartment than I did to live in a 2-story, 3-bedroom house in Roswell, Georgia, which is borderline ridiculous. But I wanted to live here, so this is what I chose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, let's
go ahead, Rusty. Let's talk about racing or something.
Yeah, let's go to racing. So one of the reasons we wanted to bring Kate back on in the off season is to talk about fuel mileage, because Kate had a lot to say, and we're gonna listen. I wanted to start it with this though, and maybe a round table. Do you like fuel mileage races? And that's pretty open ended, but let's start there. Sherwin, what do you think? Do you like fuel mileage races?
They're coming around on me. There's some science there that's coming around on me.
Is Kate going to bring it home for you today?
Maybe. I mean, I think it's one of the last. I mean, to me, that's what hooked me in. That's what hooked me in 20 years ago, was the whole prospect that with all the preparation you can do and all the strategy that your team has and all the practicing and everything, that was a thing that could absolutely upset who the winner was going to be. And so many people would get so upset. They're like, oh, it's not fair. The other person was going to win. It's like, no, this is racing. So yes, that crash happened at whatever, 20 laps left, and people are trying to figure out if they're going to save fuel or not, or I guess it would be more 50 laps left. And now they don't want to pit and whatever it might be. But fuel mileage, I don't know. I think that's great last minute decision making. And that's like the true, I don't know, there's teamwork that's going on there. There's discussion happening there. I guess it plays all to the things I love, which is teamwork, which is building systems and processes and what to do in different situations and how do you react at the last minute. And that could be life or death or win or lose in this case. So fuel mileage freaking rocks.
I think of the question a lot like if you were to ask me, do you like night races? And if I'm like, yeah, I love night races. They're great. But if next season you give me 25 night races, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm kind of done with this night racing stuff. So if, it's like, yeah, I love a good fuel mileage race where there's strategy, where there's something at play, or they're rolling dice, something like that. But if we have a fuel mileage race every race, then, now tires don't matter. And now other things don't matter. So I say yes, I like me a fuel mileage race, and I like, again, the strategy side of it. One thing that I think there's fuel mileage races, and then there's, I think, the TV or radio or whoever it is kind of trying to, I don't want to say manufacturing drama, but that's their job
they're dramatizing it
is to insert some drama into the situation. So a lot of times it'll be, this is a fuel mileage race, and then everybody finishes and then they do a burnout, and then everybody drives back to their hauler and everything, and you're like, no, it was not a fuel mileage race at all.
Right. So. And also, again, this is definitely different now than it was 10, 20 years ago, right? I mean, just the way the cars are now. It's not as much of a dice throw. And it's also the elements. I would say I love a fuel mileage race when it is at a track that has a lot of banking, because I love watching when the drivers know how to use the track to their advantage as far as with the banking. I mean, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Kate, educate us. You want to talk about fuel mileage? Talk to us.
No. I don't have. I mean, I think I just gave you everything I know. It's just the my dream job that I wish if I had gone into engineering, I would have loved to have then worked on a NASCAR team and been the fuel mileage person, the person who is there with the crew chief and the car chief of trying to decide, okay, what do we do? Do we bring that person in? How much fuel do we put in? But so much of that is again, is in the excitement of watching a race like in 97, 98, 99, when I feel like there was a lot more of the fuel mileage issues coming up, or a lot more questions about how long someone can last. And there'll be a lot more activities of sometimes when they would coast. They still do it every once in a while, but when they'll turn their engine off and then turn it back on again on some of the tracks when they can coast out, like if it's a yellow. But this is all like before, what do you call it? Green,
green, white checker.
Thank you, green, white checkered, and like that totally changed all that kind of strategy up. So I don't have any charts of how to calculate.
Are we going full circle then? Because it was seemingly such a bigger thing before, but now with single lug, I have to imagine that fuel is the long stick in the pit stops now, and so it feels like that's going to be a big change. Sherman, what do you think?
Yeah, we talked about this a couple times that unless we bring in forced fuel induction, we're only going to be able to put 7.5, maybe 8 seconds of fuel in a car. So are we going to reduce fuel cell size? Are we going to soften tires to sort of match that in terms of who can weigh whether or not gas is the right approach, or just say, look, I can run, balls scalded to the wall and tear up these tires, and we're not really going to hurt ourselves on fuel consumption because everybody's got no fuel. So there is a balance there that we have to understand that is going to make this more interesting one way or another if they get all those data points aligned in the right direction. I don't want forced fuel because it introduces an incredible amount of cost. And the whole point of going to this new car was to sort of take some of that out. Now, I mean, we talked a couple of different times now about how that's going to hurt the back of the field. Okay, let's leave that alone. Let's talk about the 30 to 33 cars that have a chance to really get a good finish, every week, and why they would want to manage tires versus fuel, knowing that both are constraints. Well, I mean, hey, Goodyear, if NASCAR says, look, we're not going to do forced fuel, which means on an 8-second stop, we can only put 13.5 gallons. Why don't we just reduce the fuel cell to 12 gallons, make the lugs back to being the stop point for when you get to take off, and, hey, soften that tire up. Let these guys just let it rip for, I don't know, what at Atlanta might be 33, 34 laps where you go, yep, we're fresh out of rubber. It's time to go get some more. Oh, and we're also out of gas. So let's go do both of those things.
Well, I think even out. So I have a question. So so the relationship with the fuel with tires, and I agree with everything you're saying, and the softer tire. Is there I have no idea what I'm asking here. Would a softer tire, would a softer tire cost less? That's not exactly what I want to say, but is there a value for the team to go to a softer tire? Would it matter?
No, probably not. There's probably a lot of media personnel and maybe even some team personnel that would love to see these races get shortened up. But there's a lot of us that love racing that don't want to see a race like Atlanta or Charlotte or Texas or anywhere else turn into a 350-mile race or whatever, because all of a sudden they're buying the same 13 sets of tires that they always bought at 500-mile race, but they only last 350 miles now.
Right.
So there's a balance in there somewhere where you figure out fuel mileage. But that's the reason why that whole tire management thing comes into play. And we joked about this a lot in the early parts of our podcast, because our guy that we were rooting for in the early days was a very good manager of tires. And we actually used to make fun of Jeff Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
Because when we started watching racing, he was actually one of the worst at it. And they're like, yeah, but in the 90s, he was like the best at it. And so we called him Tire Roasting Jeff.
Ooh.
He would roast his tires in the first 25 laps, and everybody would catch him. And our guy would like take off on the pole and drop to 10th within about 4 laps. But at lap 29, all of a sudden, he's done passed everybody and got back to the lead. Because he just said, I'm just going to cruise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let everybody else roast their stuff. We all have the same amount of gas. And even then, the Dodges actually were burning more gas than anybody else. Like, they were running way more rich than anybody else for whatever reason back before we had the fuel injectors. And so they had their own set of situations to deal with. So Casey had to manage tires in order to win races.
Yeah.
And he did.
So, Sherwin, I'm not sure I agree necessarily with the make the fuel tank smaller, because I say make them bigger. Make it so that they have to decide how long they're going to sit there on pit road and how many positions they're willing to lose in order to fill this thing up with gas. And then you make the perfect point, and what we've been talking about this whole time with tires is, okay, well, what kind of tire did Goodyear bring to the table this time? If it's a super hard tire, fill that sucker up. If it's a soft tire, hey, we're gonna be down to cords in 40 laps anyway. So just fill it up with this much or that much or whatever. So I think we've got it puts a lot in play at this point with the single lug, with kind of fuel being the I'm interested in that now. That fuel is, like I said, the long pole in your pit stop, and now you got to start making decisions on that, because it used to be just give me 4 and pack it full. And if you want it packed full, check your watch. We're going to be sitting here for a little while, buddy.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect analogy, or at least a perspective. Is like, which one do you want? Do you want to, do you want the lugs to be the drum, or do you want the gas input to be the drum? And it can be both depending on what kind of racetrack you go to. But if you go to Atlanta or you go to Texas, you're going to have a lot of, or Kansas even too, you're going to have a lot of really long green flag runs. You might go 130 laps and never have a caution.
Yeah.
So what does that, like, from a racing entertainment perspective, what are the things that you would like to do? And I mean, the thing that I think often miss as fans, and we're like, make a softer tire and get all, pitchforky, is, well, wait a minute. Goodyear is still marketing a brand. They're participating in a sport because they want people to see Goodyear.
Yeah.
And if they're blowing tires at 215 miles an hour at Michigan, and people like Dale Jr. and Casey Kane are hitting the wall at asinine black box speeds or decelerations, that's not good either.
Right.
So where's the balance?
And Tony Stewart coming on mic and telling everybody how Goodyear, the company, should just burn in a fire.
Yeah, I mean, Tony's always good for something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's got like 3 or 4 like just aces in the hole. Oh yeah, here's another one. I'm just going to say this.
Have we done any like pit practice that's been like recorded on TV and stuff with the single lug yet?
I haven't seen one, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. So I'm curious. This is all speculation, but hey, it's off season. That's what we're doing. But what? If they can change 4 tires in, like you've been kind of saying, Sherwin, in about 8 seconds, that is very interesting. And I wonder if we'll see some some of this cheater stuff we were talking about before. What if somebody puts a big old plunger on the on the back of their gas can or something that's hidden? I don't know how to do any of that, but force feed it a little bit, your gas man becomes very important here.
Somebody's going to try something, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They'll figure out how to change a baffle within that system that lets the air in, that lets it out faster.
Yeah, yeah. And that was, golly, I want to say, what, 8 or 10 years ago when something like that happened? Somebody did something. That's very specific. Somebody did something 8 or 10 years ago, and
8 or 10 years ago,
changed the whole sport.
Well, it's when they went to that new connector.
Yeah,
that wasn't just the spring port. It's that you had to align it like perfectly because it's like 3 cylinders in a row, and you had to like mate up the middle cylinder in order for the gas to actually start pumping. Because there was a ton of pit stops when they first brought that, where people were like, "I didn't get any gas in.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to come back in because we got no gas in there."
Yep, I remember that.
And
yep,
and then somebody started jacking around with, all right, what if we put a port here that nobody can see, or what if we drill a hole here, or whatever, all those little things. Those kind of got sorted out within the first couple of years. And so I think now, like if you look at this year, I don't know that you could monkey with a gas can very much in NASCAR and not be like, nah.
Yeah. So, okay, so with the new car, then granted, everything's delayed, but is there any guess out there or any discussion out there of what if any variables there are for the different teams that have different manufacturer cars? Is there anything, I don't know, whether it's aerodynamically or it is having to do with stuff with fuel, well, not with tires, but I don't know. Is there anything anybody's talking about whether which manufacturer is going to be better?
I don't know that I've heard anything about a particular manufacturer having an aero advantage based on the way the nose piece is shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to have to buy the same chassis, which they're allowed to beat and bang and whatever on that as long as they pass.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to buy the chassis as opposed to building it in-house, which means they can't do some shifty things with weight. In terms of what you said about, is somebody going to have some kind of advantage that's inherent based on the fact that they're a Toyota, a Ford, or a Chevy? I would strongly doubt that.
Yeah, I mean, like it wouldn't be overly apparent, but I'm just wondering about the back channel chatter, if there's been any talk of anything being like, well, that's probably going to mean that Chevy's going to be this or that. Whether it's made up talk about and chatter about any advantage, or if it's actually real.
Well, so where the advantage is going to come into play and where the engineering is going to come into play, especially with the big teams, is the in-housing geometry is not going to be factory.
Okay.
How you set your shocks, how you set your A-frames, what materials they're made of, those things are still going to be under your control. Rear end housing is going to be subject to a window of opportunity, which means if you have a driver that really likes to drive a loose race car, you're going to use the back end of the skew of what's available in the rear end, which means you're going to point that right rear at the wall at as steep as an angle as possible, because that's the way you drive a dirt car. So the dirt car guys are going to want to have as much of that angle built in as possible.
Is that different from right now?
It's not noticeable on television the way it was in 2010 when they let them crab crawl down the straightaway.
No kidding.
Yeah, because they were like, wait a minute, we didn't know y'all were going to do that. And it took them like 7 races to go, nah, that's not a thing anymore.
Right. It's kind of like the flared fenders.
Well, they had rubber grommets built into the rear end that would cause the whole entire rear end to shift, but not bind up the drive shaft.
Yeah.
And so that thing would just walk around the corner at a high bank track like in Atlanta or a Charlotte or a Texas. And just, I mean, hanging that right rear out, getting all that air on the spoiler and being to put all the power down, because that thing is pointed at the wall.
Right.
And you're turning right to go left at that point. You're just dirt tracking.
Yeah, yeah. And the body and the frame were so off kilter. So like drivers just like, yep, I'm just driving, and the car's pointed at the freaking wall.
It's like when you see one of those those delivery vans that's been in a wreck, and like you're driving down the road behind it, and like you can see inside the hubcap of the left rear. And you're like, that's at a weird angle, but he's driving straight. Like, oh, that van's been in a wreck.
It was, and I just,
where's the tape on his steering wheel? Is it like that? Is it over here?
I just half mentioned it, and we were talking about that Cheaters book before or in the pre-show, if you will. And the was it Gibbs who was like on the first pit stop? They would just grab the fenders and yank them out, and now they're these like tire shredders, and gave them all this extra aero advantage.
I can't remember if it was Gibbs or Penske that started doing that first, but whoever started doing it, everybody was like, "Wait, what the hell? That's not in the book." I mean, at first pit stop, they'd grab that little piece of sheet metal that's right behind the exhaust.
Yep.
And just tear that thing out. And they were cutting tires like crazy because if you'd walk up into somebody, I mean, you just shear valve steam off right there. Boom. It's gone.
Yeah. It was like, well, rubbin's no longer racing because rubbin is you have a tire down.
Right.
So, yeah. Man.
Well, it's just like that crab walking stuff. It took them like 6 or 7 races. They were like, okay, this is not okay anymore.
Right.
We're going to start watching this.
Now, how could they have not? I mean, that's what always gets me is like, to me, it seems like some of the major changes, like something that they thought was going to be so great. And I'm talking about specifically about the cars themselves, that they thought was going to be so great in a new car or that was introduced in the new year with one of the manufacturers. And like 3, 4, 5 races in, they're like, never mind that. No, that's not going to work when we're in a racing situation, just like what you were just talking about. And I'm like, how did you not anticipate that when you do all those tests?
Well, before 10 years ago, very valid question. Right now, they don't do anything. I mean, it's 2 or 3 or maybe 5 cars. It's like, we're going to bring one car from all the major teams that have been competing in the top 10 to 15 for the last, 6 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are going to compete. So when we go to a Daytona or a Talladega, you're like, well, this doesn't mean anything. You didn't learn anything from this.
Right.
There's not enough cars.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Listen to Dale Jr. He actually knows what he's talking about. You need 35 cars on the racetrack before you ever will understand whether the high line is going to run or the low line is going to run. Yep. And we've seen both of those things happen in the last 10 years. Like we've seen the freight train at Talladega where the high line is like, man, if you're not up there, you're toast.
Right.
And then the last 2 or 3 years, it's been like, if you're not in the low line, you're screwed. You'll never make the high line work because it's the faster way around. It's the shorter way around.
Mm-hmm. What was the weird thing that happened for a couple of years, or maybe only just 1 year when they were like
tandem? You're talking
about.
Oh
no, it was 2.5 years, and it was the awesomest thing that's happened in NASCAR plate racing.
You have Kate. You have very strong opinions on this side of the microphone.
I can tell. I want to hear. I want to hear.
Tandem racing. Here's the thing. First off, it's this gambling stuff that we've been talking about this whole time. They would go tandem, and you get like another second per lap, but your temperatures start rising, and so once you come back around, it was like, all right, well now you have to back off a little bit, and then it's okay. When can we do tandem? And then I think it was Jimmy Johnson Sherwin who had like 6 or 8 people on his switchboard that he could talk to. Because of the tandem stuff, and it was super cool. That was some of the best racing ever, and they got rid of it.
Well, not only was it the best racing in terms of entertainment to watch it happen, and watch how
racing.
Smooth when it's plate racing, it's not really racing.
Also true.
But,
you heard
it. With you on that.
If you just
with you on that,
if you put the glass ceiling on that like part of the thing. The fact that these guys all figured this out so fast,
yeah, that's
figured
true.
it out so quickly, that NASCAR was figuring out all kinds of ways to take away air from the radiators so they couldn't hide behind another car and all those things. But to Rusty's point, the absolute most entertaining that listening to the NASCAR.com radio function, which used to be a pay service. I think it was free all this year because they wanted to kind of draw more people in and figure out, hey, you can't go to the race, so we got this for you. Listening to your favorite driver have 21 or 24 other drivers. And you can just go click, 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 click. All right. I'm in between 7 and 9, so I must be on Dale Jr. or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, well, that was 8. That was way before, but you know what I mean? Like,
understood.
Click, click, click. I clicked past 5, and I'm on 7. Go back to 6. Hey, Mark Martin, whoo, why don't you pull on up and let's giddy up? And they would talk to each other. And then the guy that was running in the rear of the tandem, they would switch over to that channel so that the lead guy would actually get spotted by the rear guy's spotter. Like, so they would switch spotters.
What?
So like if it's Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer, for instance.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So if it was Jeff Burton and Clint Boyer, for instance, and they're tandem and Clint's pushing and Jeff's in front, they're listening to Spotter Brett. Spotter Brett's clearing both of them, telling them how to get around the guys because he's got to clear the rear of Clint. And he also has to tell the front car, hey, they're trying to move down and break you guys up. You guys need to go down another half a lane to get away from that bubble. And so it's the rear car's spotter. It was so cool. It was the coolest thing NASCAR's ever done. Damn it.
I told you, Kate. You're going to get us fired right up.
I'm loving this. So why did it go away?
Because
Junior didn't like it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't like it because he couldn't win that way.
And I said old people suck over the top of you.
And old people suck.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Well, we do have some NASCAR news to talk through.
Oh, so
on that bombshell.
Somebody's going to be mad when they listen to this episode.
Oh, man. I love it. Here we go.
I like opinions because that is not like I think maybe that's fight me for that one. I like it.
Oh, man. Sure, we got some silly season stuff. Dinger is back racing full-time Xfinity with Colleague Racing, so filled that seat. First full-time ride since JTG Doherty in 2018. So road course folks, look out. You're about to get run over by AJ Allmendinger.
And why not? Why not love that?
Oh, man.
I sent out a joke on the Twitter and whatnot. I said, you think when Matt Colleague was thinking about Justin Haley, or just thinking about in the general perspective of what Justin Haley is, Matt Colleague said, I don't think anybody can find a driver smaller than AJ Allmendinger. And Chris Rice was like, why don't you hold my beer? Because I know a guy.
Yeah.
Because Justin Haley's like 4 inches shorter than AJ, and AJ's like, he's a little guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, but that's cool. I'm excited to see that. And with all of the existing road courses that Xfinity goes to, and then all the extra ones that we've had, I mean, Xfinity, what do they have? Like half the season's road courses at this point.
Well, those guys that have been holdovers that are going to Cup next year, or that we think are going to Cup next year, those guys all got to be sort of shaking their boots going, well, I guess we're not going to win a road course race this year because AJ's running everything. And, if you're smart and you're Colleague and you're like, I'm trying to dip my toe into the Cup water, well, those 6 road course races that are in Cup, if you want to build a Cup car, AJ's your guy.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. Kate, are you excited to see Allmendinger back?
Oh, I love the Dinger. I love the Dinger. He just freaking loves race car driving so much. I love any driver that is. I mean, they all love race car driving, but race car driving. Listen to me. I've had gin. Hi. They all love the motorsport.
You're empty.
I know. I am.
You're out of gas.
Yeah, a few more steps. I'm almost out of fuel. I
Fuel
did not
race.
regulate the fuel mileage pretty well on that for this. I love a driver who is so passionate about how, like, just that belief deep down that he can make a difference in for a team, and like he just wants to be not just out there racing. He's not just Kyle Busch wanting to be out there racing, but he's out there wanting to like have the best time and be a part of a team, and everybody's going to win, and isn't racing cool, and just loves the entire sport of it. That I freaking love. And Dinger's totally that. And he's apparently he seems to be a good human. When I've gone to tracks and he'll, go to all the Twitter stuff, and he just seems like a good human. So
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Here's another one. Ryan Truex gets a full ride in trucks with Nice Motorsports in that number 40 Chevy. I would have worn my Go Ryan shirt today, but it's one outside, y'all. It's one. So
and if I had thought, I would have worn my Ryan Truex, and then it has Junior with a red X on it.
Yeah, it's even better.
It's
probably.
pretty great. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Yeah, Ryan Truex. Heck yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Truex fans in the house over here.
Mm-hmm. Same
with Martin. You can't root for absolutely everybody, but there's, there's a lot of them out there.
Well, and it's funny you say that. It's like Amy Ryman or Amy Earnhardt, and you can't it just rolls off the tongue. You're like, it's Amy Earnhardt Jr. Like, wait, no, she married I'm a junior. My wife doesn't go by, Rusty Wallace Jr. So
I've never called you Junior except for when somebody was like, "Hey, your second passenger on this, flight thing. What's his real name?" And I'm like, "Patrick Allen Wallace Jr. Return," and then text Rusty, "Hey, your middle name's Allen, right?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, you got it."
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah. Oh, Rusty's real name is P.A.W. Paul. So I at least have that, going for me, which is nice. Back in the old days, Sherwin, I have both flown and checked into many hotels, and the hotel thing still works, but I can't fly as my dad anymore. But I have done that, in my youth. And I remember this one time I was holding my dad's, but my boarding pass, and it said, "You have been a Sky Miles member since 1977. Now, I was born in 1982. And so I'm holding this this ticket. I'm like, I hope they don't look at that, because this is very much obvious. Oh, man.
That's awesome.
So
I have no idea how this ties in, but it feels like it might. I don't know. So my dad was telling me while I was home for Thanksgiving that there was something on the horizon in Mammoth Lake / Bishop, California, about something related to my patriarch family name. But we now have a mountain range named after us. So the Sherwin Ridge in Mammoth Lakes, California, that's me. That's my family.
Nice.
Dang. Congratulations.
Yeah. Good skiing there, I would never know. I haven't been. I've only ever been to Salt Lake, to be honest.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Wow. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Continuing on, Corey LaJoie is joining Spire Motorsports. That's that charter that was bought from Levine Family Racing in the number 7. So good on Corey. It's like the little bittersweet, I don't know what to call it, but like, yep, they're moving forward, which good on Spire and everything else. But, it's one of those things. But, yeah, cool.
Well, and there's a couple different layers of that, because they obviously they bought Bob's charter, and they bought Levine Family Racing, but they bought their building, which was the original Alan Kowicki building. And for everybody keeping score at home, Alan Kowicki raced the number 7. So they actually reached out to all the people that were involved with that number at the Cup Series level and said, can we have this number? This is why it makes sense. And everybody was like, yep, you got it. So they got number 7.
Yeah, that's cool. How about this, Kate? Did you see that that F1 wreck with Romain? And I'm gonna mess up his last name, but Grosjean.
Don't like it.
That was
Didn't like it.
That was bonkers. And I mean, you know, we said the same thing like with Ryan Newman at the Daytona 500 this year. Like, this is bad, and then they bring out the curtains, and you're like, okay, this is really bad. Yep. There's bad. There was. This was before COVID and everything, and so that was the biggest thing going on. And then, with this one, you look at that car. I know we've done this many times in NASCAR when you look at the aftermath, and you're just like, how on earth? But Sherwin, you had texted me, and it was like, without that halo thing, I mean, we're probably talking body parts.
Yes.
Well, I texted you, and I said I almost had to send you that awful text that I have sent you one, and you have sent me one that demanded that you turn the television on to a certain channel because a racing event had transpired that was very troublesome.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And thankfully, it happened so early in the morning, and I just had a night, where I just was up, or not night that was up, but I just was up in the morning, and I saw it on Twitter first, and then I turned it on and saw all the replays, and I was like, he went through there.
Should not.
And then
gone through there.
You see where the halo is sitting, and then eventually we got to watch him sort of climb out, and you're like, that is a goddamn miracle. And
I was not.
What I would say is the halo did what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Have they fixed all of their potential safety stuff? No. But that halo is the reason why that man is still alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Kate, you witnessed some of that, or at least saw replays and stuff?
I actually saw. I didn't want to see. I felt I didn't need to see that traumatic experience. I could tell enough from what people were saying. I saw the still photos and different parts of it, and aftermath, and felt I had enough to. That was enough for me to see. But the bits that I did see about the car, I hadn't discussed with anybody yet. So I'm actually kind of glad you brought it up, because that was the first thing I thought of was about the halo, and I was like, how would that have been if not, because it seems that would not have been as much of a survival as if it's.
Well, I think one of the weird things about the deflection of metal at extremely high rate of speed and momentum is that space that we had to look at, that that chassis, what we probably call a cockpit, because it's separated for the rear end of the chassis. That dart that flew into that Armco, is that you look at that spot that it went through, and you're like, well, that's not big enough for that piece to have to gone through there. But steel has a really a strong rebound rate, so it separated while he went through, and then it closed back up some percentage.
That is bonkers.
But what we did see in the stills and in the video was that the halo itself was completely undamaged.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had the wherewithal to tuck under the halo, which it looks like he did, he was 100% protected from a head injury.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it is a whole different wild ass animal.
Carnage.
Okay, so because I did not watch the actual video, still don't think I really want to. What part hit, like where did the energy get absorbed first? What part of the car hit first?
Oh, the front.
Mm-hmm.
It was the front dead on, like perpendicular?
40 degrees. Like bad.
Okay.
Bad.
Okay.
Like almost all of the energy absorbed by the car, the human, and the Armco.
Yeah.
And that's why you see it, like, if you go back and watch it slow-mo, you can see the Armco peel up
Oh, wow.
and then relax.
Yeah.
And that's why the gap looks so small.
Okay.
Because it peeled up and relaxed after he was already through. And then it engulfed in flames. And then about a second and a half later, he was out through his own accord. And the halo, all the pictures you can see about the halo, 100% intact.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just did its thing.
And the replay, see, I don't mind watching the replay because dude walks away from it, and he's got some injuries, and he went to the hospital and stuff. And so this is one of those that like you can analyze and everything. It's the ones where it doesn't end up well that you're like, I'm not watching that. Hell no.
Right. Right.
But yeah, this one was like, okay, well let's like Sherwin said, kind of go frame by frame, and okay, what in the world happened here? So we are well into our time here. I did want to mention this though, because I said it must be 2020. Because and Kate, I don't know if you are a college football fan, but College Game Day has announced they're going to Conway, South Carolina next week for the matchup between the number 20 Coastal Carolina team and the number 25 Liberty team. Like, what on earth world are we living in? That we've got Coastal Carolina, they've knocked on the door for a while, and then there's Liberty at 9-1. So good on them.
I did see that, and my assumption was just that because they have the most lax COVID restrictions.
Well, there could be that. I am.
I think it had anything to do with football, quite honestly.
I don't know, like what kind of crowds are allowed or whatever else, but I feel like this is like the prime opportune moment to have some of the most epic game day signs that have ever existed, Sherwin.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, I got sent a very funny picture, which I put all over everywhere, of like, one of those Santa like globe things. It's like the plastic thing you plug in and he glows. Mm-hmm. But like there's like somebody cut 2020 out of a poster board and like set it on a set of stairs, and then like they took a coat hanger and made it like white lights kind of curved from like the midsection down, and there was like sort of a puddle of lights. I'll let you do the rest of the imagination. I thought it was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. Like, yeah, piss on 2020.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, folks, we have been talking for a while. It feels like for 15 minutes, but it's time to close this thing out. Kate, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you? What's coming up next for you?
You can just keep following me on Twitter. That's where I am probably the most, at GoKate. So GOK and the numeral 8. That is me on Twitter. And want to know more about me and the work I actually do, where I get paid money. That's my full name, Kate Ertmann, KateErtmann.com. Now you can find out everything about me there.
There it is. Sherwin, close us out, buddy.
All right, man. You can find us on Twitter at PETM Podcast and on Instagram in the same place. You can find me at Pregame Engineer on Twitter and at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram.
And as always, I'm Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor. Can't wait to see y'all. Excuse me. Again, next week, we're closing out the year. We're still doing off-season stuff, y'all. You never know what we're going to bring to the table. It might be Celsius. It might be subwoofers. It might be fuel mileage. It's been awesome talking to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Might be Haley Moody.
There could be that. There we go. That's a wrap. We are still live on the YouTube, but that is all.
Kate Sans 8.
What's that?
Huh?
Sorry, I was telling a joke and it sucked. I said Kate Sans 8.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, sure. Sherwin.
Yeah, that didn't land very well at all. I'm embarrassed.
This is fun. Kate, thank you for joining.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking me. I appreciate it. It's good times. Definitely brought up the day.
Good. Good. Well, I think all three of us needed that.
Yeah.
In a way.
Ended it well.
Yeah, I'll third that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the phone.
You turn
with
that subwoofer up, Sherwin.
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to try to be a good steward for a
Whenever
little
you
while.
just say, "Hey, my name is," and you say, "What's your name? Let's talk about this. Let's have like a conversation instead of just turn that off."
Well, and so that's the thing. I was talking about it with my neighbor or whatever, and now my neighbor will come to me and he's like, "Hey, I had my music on last night. Is everything cool? Was it fine?" I was like, "No, it's great. Yeah, no problem last night." And he asked me again another night, and I'm like, "Yeah, I could hear it, so I'd appreciate it."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, I he's adjusting. That's the whole thing, So if you have the conversation, then at least y'all can get on the same page or whatever. But building 8, I don't.
Building 8
continues to be my favorite part.
People are so scared of conflict, man. Just get to the other side of it. So much better on the other side of it. Just freaking talk.
Well, that's just it. And I think I talked about this with Rusty. Is like the best way to get my red up is to tell me something I can't do.
I'm sure that's for anybody.
Yeah,
that's for anybody. I mean, let's talk about this year. I mean, I'm not going to go into politics, but let's be clear. Folks that were upset this past year with so many different things, or past 4 years or many years, people get super upset when you tell them they can't do something.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and I'm not equating this at all, but I'm saying in general, in humans, when they're told just there's no discussion, they can't do something, of course you're going to be like, who are you? Why? How do you think you can say this to me? What? And it's just like it starts at the bottom level and you can't climb out of that whole dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, and because we tend to be, on the grand scheme of things, some very moderate people. Rusty and I have not always agreed on politics, and that's okay because we've always figured out a way to operate.
Exactly, you find the thing that you do,
and we just find all the stuff that we do, and sometimes we align, and sometimes we don't. But like one thing we do align on is that we grew up kind of the redneck way in that, look, come over and say something. Don't tell me what the fuck I can't do. Like, that's not going to go good. It's just not.
Right. That's what I had no, I had no even thought in my mind to like write a passive aggressive note to my neighbor. I was more like, I'm going to walk over there and tell him to turn his ish down, please, sir. And let's figure it out from here. Like we still have to live next door to each other. We're not changing that. He just did a bunch of work to his house. He's going to be there for a long time. And I'm still here. So, it's something we got to figure out.
Yeah. And if you know who it is that you're affecting, that actually makes a difference. People do want to do well by other people.
That's what Sherwin was saying too. Yeah.
It's like, just let me know who you are. And I'm like, hey, so sorry that happened. I had a shitty day. I turned that up. Sometimes you do things over there in your apartment that is also loud. And if you're the rhinoceroses that are wrestling upstairs, hey, you, what's up? I mean,
well, and I ain't tattletelling on anybody or leaving notes on doors.
It's just dumb.
Like, look, y'all make noise. Okay, well, then I'm gonna make some noise.
Oh, I'll show you some noise.
Well, I finally got madder than fucking hell, and sorry, that's like the third F word I've dropped. Thankfully, it's YouTube, but
okay.
Like, I just said, you know what? I don't care, and I turned the gain up on my subwoofer, which I have an 8-inch subwoofer. It's small. I lifted it off the floor to try to help out. I turned the gain up to 2.5. And I get a note on my door. And I'm like, who are these snowflakes? It's like,
see, now they make it seem like a challenge now. Now you're like,
well, So Rusty, I think, would potentially back my play. Not that he would always do that, because I do make my fair share of mistakes. But like, back the play on, hey, if you just come talk to me, like we'll probably figure this out.
Yeah.
But if you you're trying to telling me with duct tape, turn off your subwoofer. Yeah, there's
Capitalize.
no chance of that.
It's the building 8 that gets me.
None. Right.
Me too.
No.
Love
like
that.
I said, when I came in yesterday, I knew who had written the note, because they walked down the stairs and they saw me come up and they knew who I was, because they'd already evidently been studying. They're like, who's the guy that lives in that apartment?
Oh man.
So and being me, the considerate person I am, like I said, I don't wear my mask in between my car and going to my apartment. Maybe I should. I wear it everywhere else. I wear a mask all day long. I'm at work 11 hours a day.
Understand.
And I go, every establishment I go in, I wear the mask. So I step aside, walk by, eye contact made, and I said, hey, how you doing? And he looked at me and paused. And that's how you know. Like, he'd already done a tell. He's like, oh, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, man, rock on. And I walk upstairs and I get this stupid fucking note. And I'm like,
So what are you going to do? I mean, I have to get to dinner. You guys have lives because you're 3 hours difference than me. But what are you going to do?
I think on Saturday afternoon, this is probably going to get real Cody Jinks around here. And there's a lot of bass in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make them come talk to me, or let's go to the principal's office.
I say kill him with kindness. Invite him over for a beer and play some Cody Jinks at Mach 11.
Actually,
with Rusty.
that is a much better idea. And
I'm with Rusty.
I would prefer that idea.
Yeah. Be like, hey.
But I need to address this a little bit. But
Building 8. And then you'll get to know the person, and then whenever you see them around, you just call them Building 8. Hey, Building 8.
Rusty's a way less volatile person than me, and that's good, because we offset each other pretty good.
Nice.
He can calm me down and I can get him upset.
Beautiful.
We have a different range of emotion. Most time, though, I will listen to Rusty go, hey, man, you probably shouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right about that. I just kind of go, yep, you're not wrong, Walter, and I don't even think you're an asshole. I think you're just right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Yes. We appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Always.
It's fun. It's fun, and I enjoy doing it. If someone drops out late at any time, call me or Twitter me.
Well,
awesome.
Careful on that, but yes, we will.
I can always, as long as I could say no, but I'll probably be like, yeah, sure, I'll hang out. I don't care.
Awesome.
Well, we're not the worst in the world, right? I mean,
not the worst in the world.
We have,
especially for a couple rednecks from Georgia.
Yeah, that's about it. We're really easy to please. We are up on iTunes and everywhere else. So, Kate, again, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Take care.
Have a good night.
See ya. Ah. And I'm just doing all the IT stuff at this point to get us all set up for everywhere else besides just the iTunes and Google Play and everything, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. What you doing this week, Sherwin, besides working? Nothing? Me too.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be pretty nasty. Weekend's probably going to be okay, I reckon, from my perspective. I'm not on call or anything, so I'll probably just have a weekend.
There you go. Probably
try to behave myself in terms of leaving the subwoofer down. I don't really want to make these people mad. I just, you get a fuck.
Oh, man.
I mean, I lead with harmony, empathy, and teamwork. If you can't figure how to work out with me, like, you got bigger shit on your hands.
Right.
Like, I know you, I mean, you have 20 years of experience of me being a wild ass, kind of, sometimes volatile personality, like in our personal lives. But at work, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm super, like, whatever it is you are, regular. Like, that's where I'm like, hey, I don't know if we need to do that. What if we just kind of just do this, and then like, I'm real chill.
Mm-hmm. All
I don't
right.
know.
Let's pin that to the profile page.
And I don't want to piss off these I don't want this note. But I got mad, and I misbehaved. Like I said, I started, Ford versus Ferrari at midnight, and I played it loud.
I love that. I still have to see that. I hadn't seen it yet.
Oh, you'll love it. You will think, well, I do, because I spent so much time around him, so you may not. But Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's got to be good.
That's Thomas Bush. Like, I'm texting Thomas going, dude, that guy's, whatever that guy that they, like, movied and real lifed and smashed together, like, that's you.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to shut down the YouTube stream. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. It's been a blast.
Always.